a podcast to honor the gods.
This better come with a sacrifice.
Dave X Media.
Pandemonium reigned. Somebody, and Harry had a very shrewd idea who, had set off what seemed to be an enormous crate of enchanted fireworks. Dragons comprised entirely of green and gold sparks were soaring up and down the corridors, emitting loud, fiery blasts and bangs as they went. Shocking pink Catherine wheels 5 feet in diameter were whizzing lethally through the air like so many flying saucers. Rockets with long tails of brilliant silver stars were ricocheting off the walls. Sparklers were writing swear words in midair of their own accord. Firecrackers were exploding like mines everywhere Harry looked, and instead of burning themselves out, fading from sight, or fizzling to a halt, these pyrotechnical miracles seemed to be gaining in energy and momentum the longer he watched. Welcome to the Restricted Section, a pro-trans rights Harry Potter slander Harry Potter book club podcast where we slander Harry Potter. If you haven't done the reading, don't worry, we did it for you. Here's what we're talking about this week. Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix, Chapter 28, Snape's Worst Memory. Umbridge is now the boss of Hogwarts, and Fred and George make sure she has to earn her paycheck by setting off a bajillion fireworks all over the school. Cho and Harry, break up? ? And when Harry's left alone in Snape's office for 0.2 seconds, he simply must meddle. So he winds up in Snape's pensieve, non-consensually, and learns that his father, James, was, oh my god, weird, a jackass. That is so surprising. Snape is, naturally, so fucking mad at this absolute and utter invasion of privacy that he kicks Harry out forever, canceling their occlumency lessons forever. Welcome to the Restricted Section, where it is officially time to start the mischief and the mayhem. I'm so excited. I'm your host, Christina. My co-host today is a firework. Brooke, say hello to the listeners, Brooke.
Hi, I am apparently a firework. I'm also on the fourth day of a single game of Risk.
Oh my god, I saw you tweet about the Risk.
My husband and I play Risk occasionally because it takes us forever to play. An average turn for one person lasts 30 minutes.
Stop. Is the other one just reading during that time?
No.
I hope. Playing
Nope.
with the baby.
Nope.
Making
Watching
faces.
intently.
Stop. They don't have a TV, guys. They don't have a TV.
But we do require that we take pictures of the game board every time we pause because we don't trust each other. So that's mentally where I'm at. I'm planning my next 4 moves of Risk, which I will hope to have completed by next week.
Who's winning?
Currently, Michael.
What part of the world did he take? It's very important.
See, here's the thing. We are playing Lord of the Rings Risk.
Oh, so what part of the world did he take?
Right. So he has Mirkwood at the moment.
Oh my god, you can get a lot done in Mirkwood.
He just ousted me from Rohan, which I was real pissed about.
How's he doing? How's your husband?
He's here.
Okay.
A lot.
I wrote down, in my
well.
notes, I wrote down, I'm sure this is no surprise, I wrote down, how's Freya first? But then I wrote, I guess, how's your husband? So, how's your baby? That's what I really want to know.
Baby is great. Did I just burp into the mic?
It doesn't matter. It's a little bit of ambiance for everyone. I saw that you're drinking a Fresca, and I'm jealous because that's objectively the best soda in the world, if you ask me.
So here's the thing. I lived a huge part of my life assuming that Fresca had calories. It does not.
Really? Is that real?
Yes. I was
Oh my
also
God.
shocked. I'm literally going to hold this up to the camera for you. Fresca is a 0-calorie soda. And I just found out, and I am now on my second, fridge pack of Fresca for the week.
Okay, well, that's good to know. My favorite drink to serve on my birthday is because my birthday is high summer. I love a gin bucket, and it's gin and Fresca and lime juice with limes floated in it.
It's a solid choice.
Okay, that's enough beverage talk. That's enough Risk talk. I'm really excited because our special guest today is Radio Mike from 20th Century Boy and Harry Potter and the Boys. Lots of boy stuff. Say hello to the listeners, Mike.
Hello. I'm so happy to be back on this podcast. Thank you so much for getting me back.
Oh my gosh, it's an absolute delight. And I'm having one of those very funny moments that you have in like the land of podcasting where I feel like we hang out all the time because I listen to your podcast. But I'm like, we don't hang out all the time. But Harry Potter and the Boys is some of the funniest shit I've ever listened to in my life.
Thank you so much. It's been so fun doing this, what I call the dumbest podcast in Australia, and it probably is.
Conceptually, yeah. But tell the listeners in case they forgot or just want to hear you summarize it again.
Yeah, so when I was 13 in year 7 at school, I wrote a bunch of Harry Potter fan fictions, and I kind of rediscovered them and dug them out and decided that I wanted to reread them as a podcast. So every week I read a chapter from my fan fiction. At the moment, generally, there's my good friend who's an Australian comedian, Sam Garlep, who joins me. But sometimes I have other guests as well. We're currently towards the end of the second book, which is called Harry Potter and the Team Wizard Tournament. And then we'll start book 3, hopefully in a month or so. But yeah, there's 7 books.
I just can't imagine with what's happened so far in your podcast, what else could possibly happen. You know what I mean? Like, where do we go from here?
Well, what did you think was the wildest moment, if you've been listening or up to date?
I don't know. I don't want to give it away in case anyone wants to go listen. But I'll tell you that the most shocked I'm hard to shock. If you listen to this podcast, you might not be surprised to hear that. But that episode...
Oh, no.
Where Harry is giving Neville like a very long masturbating lesson, right? That's like the whole chapter. I was like, what is happening right now? And my poor husband does not listen to your podcast. And he was trapped in a room with me and we were painting my walls. And he was like, what is happening right now?
Oh, he was listening along just because you had it on? Yeah, okay.
Yes, he was like, literally, what is this podcast?
Yeah, so it's littered with like extremely sexual moments, but sort of like
they're adults. They're all Harry and Neville are adults in this.
Yeah, so it's set in the future, and I guess like it's sort of like the understanding a 13-year-old would have of sex. So it's like really funny, and yeah, often Harry is sort of helping Neville become better at sex, even though Neville maintains that he is not a virgin. And then there is an entire plot line, again, I'm not going to spoil it, but there is an entire plot line in book 2 that revolves around sucking dick. So
very cleverly done. If you're going to put dick sucking in your book, this is the way to do it.
Yeah.
I maintain, I sent this email to you and you're like, I don't think she's reading this. But I think it might not be good writing, like spelling, it might be hard to read, but like the story that your little middle schooler brain made is so fucking funny. And I too feel like I was very funny in middle school. You know, like there was just all these synapses connecting in my brain and there's no limits yet. You're like, everything's fucking hilarious.
Middle school is the perfect intercession of that moment where you've got the same amount of curiosity as like a 4th grader, like a child, but you have some adult capacity to start expressing yourself, and that is why it's a nightmare.
And you also have a lot of time. Like, you just have time to burn.
Free time.
So you write Harry Potter
My friends and I
fanfiction.
wrote a couple books in middle school, because it was like, what else am I going to do?
Yeah. Play sports or something? Boring.
Not me.
I was a cheerleader. So
that's pretty cool.
It was not.
I also asked Christina via email because, I mean, it definitely features a lot of Australian references in pop culture, which I worried didn't translate well to anyone who didn't grow up in Australia. But Christina seemed to think it was not as bad as I thought it was.
Yeah, not that bad.
Okay. Here's the thing. Regular Harry Potter is littered with British references.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
That kids in America are like literally had to find out weren't magic.
I was reading something. I'm currently pre-reading Half-Blood Prince for next season. I'm having a great time. Thanks so much for asking. It was really sad to turn back to Order of the Phoenix and have to read a chapter of it today. Punched the microphone in anger. But there was definitely like a couple British words that I was like, I've never looked these up before, and I guess today's the day.
Was it Catherine wheel? Because I had to look up what a Catherine wheel was.
It was from Order of the Phoenix, and it was a Catherine wheel. Oh my god, that's so funny, Brooke. Okay, well, we'll get to there, because I didn't. I wanted to Google it live on the pod. Just like we do everything else on this show. So let's do it. Okay, because this is a really fun chapter. Chapter 28, Snape's worst memory. Oh my god, my brain is like short-circuiting right now because I literally read like 5 chapters of Half-Blood Prince today. I'm on the wrong book.
I would like to start by taking issue with the title of this chapter.
Oh, why?
Okay.
Because this isn't Snape's worst memory.
It's just a memory.
It's just a bad one.
Yeah, it's sort of like the worst memory that Harry could have seen of Snape at this point in time, maybe.
But like not even, because there's
True.
a whole prank plot that almost results in his death later on.
That's true. And but we never really see that. Like, we don't ever go back into the pensieve to see that, right? We only...
Okay. Surely Snape's worst day, based on everything we know about him, is the day that Lily dies.
Yeah, that's true.
But like maybe his memory of that day was just like hearing it on the news alone in an apartment.
Oh yeah, it's a movie memory that he like rushes to cradle her or like whatever. Why would he do that? So stupid.
That being said, this, not to jump ahead, but this is kind of what happens in this chapter is kind of the ending of his friendship or relationship with Lily in a way. Like, it really ruins his... Because calling her a mudblood, and she really objects to that. And it really starts the downfall of their friendship, which I guess maybe that's why it's his worst memory. Because he's like, if I didn't call her that, maybe I would be Harry's dad right now.
Oh my god, stop. Awful. I mean, I don't know. Can't get much worse than Harry Potter as like a character, but I feel like that would be worse.
Harry Snape.
It's just boring. Okay, so the chapter starts with a new educational decree making Umbridge the headmaster of Hogwarts. Surprise, surprise. Everyone knows what happened already. The end of the last chapter. That's, okay. We need to start this chapter with the end of the last chapter. That's the chapter where Dumbledore was like, running away, you know, in the Marietta and the sneak thing, right? That whole shebang. You guys listened last week. I know you did. Everyone knows what happens, and, like, they're asking Harry for details. Hermione starts talking about Umbridge. Oh, because I think we learned that she tried to, like, get into Dumbledore's office, but it wouldn't let her.
That is, like, a delightful tip, you know? That Dumbledore is like, no, bitch. Like, you're not just gonna get into my stairwell, into my, like, secret office room.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love how Dumbledore is characterized in the books so much more than the movies. Well, I like pretty much everything about the books more than the movies, but he just there's almost like a smugness to book Dumbledore. Like, but it's like a humble smugness. He knows she's not going to be able to get into the office, and he kind of like he's set that up in advance, and yeah, he's
in control of everything.
Do we think, though, that the reason she can't get into the office is because, A, the castle itself does not recognize her as a legitimate headmaster, or is it B, we know that Dumbledore sets passwords for the office. Do you think he just, like, changed the password and then, like, made the recovery number, like, his own cell? You know what I mean?
I actually kind of do read it as the castle sort of rebelling against Umbridge. Like, the castle refuses to recognize her as an actual authoritarian figure of the school because it's still loyal to Dumbledore. That's sort of how I interpret it.
I do feel like that's what's intended, although I like the idea of her just not being clever enough.
Yeah.
Like, she just keeps shouting candies at it, like, hoping she's gonna crack it.
Yeah.
Every 5 candies she shouts, the door is like, you've been locked out of attempting that. You're trying that too much. Try again in 20 hours.
Hermione's talking shit about Umbridge. When Draco comes up and he takes a lot of points from Gryffindor, and he's in the Inquisitorial squad, so apparently he's allowed to do that. And he takes... Does anyone have the text right in front of him and, like, what he takes points for?
The official snitch bitch squad? Like, what the fuck? Okay, yep, I got it. So, Granger, I'll have 5 from you for being rude about our new headmistress. Macmillan, 5 for contradicting me. 5 because I don't like you, Potter. Weasley, your shirt's untucked, so I'll have another 5 for that. Oh yeah, I forgot. You're a mudblood, Granger, so 10 for that.
Okay, so we have like 2 really vicious uses of this word in this chapter, which I don't love.
Yeah. I think the other thing is like so much more, again, not to make the book movie comparison, but just Malfoy's just being a bully. Like, we know he goes through all that stuff in the 6th book, which is maybe his biggest moments, but I feel like you don't see as much, particularly in the Order of the Phoenix movie, of Malfoy just being a dickhead, like just being a bully. And here he just is being...
He is.
I don't want to say a 4-letter word that starts with C, but you know what it is. And he is
you
being
can
one.
say
No, I don't want
it.
to. I don't
You
want
can
to
say
it.
cunt.
No,
you
I've
can
never-
say cunt. I said it. Now you can say it.
Isn't it like way more offensive to Americans?
See, people
It
from
is.
the UK and Australia are really afraid to say it to Americans.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. Is it much more offensive? Yes. Is it a thing that we've never said on this podcast before? No, we've absolutely
Okay.
said it before.
That's
It's not a
good.
big deal.
Well, he's being a cunt. There you go.
With someone like the author of this series, like the word bitch doesn't carry enough meaning anymore. Like you really have to level that up. And like that woman is a cunt. You know what I mean?
And I'm just like super desensitized to it in general from
Okay.
living in Commonwealth country.
Guys, it's good. All our podcasts are equally raunchy. Like we're on the same page. It's completely fine. Well, mine's not quite that raunchy because we didn't have a whole chapter about Harry teaching Neville how to masturbate.
Sucking a big old dick.
We've talked about masturbation, but not given instructions.
Yeah, it's pretty next level over on Harry Potter and the Boys, but you got to do it. How else will we know about Neville's sex habits?
We need to know. The listeners need to know.
Honestly, Order of the Phoenix, though, is, I think, Neville at his sexiest.
When he's like really just like doing great for himself.
Well, yeah, because he's like
improving.
He's like learning Defense Against the Dark Arts, and he like gets all like real about being like, yeah, bitch, like Voldemort's back. Like I'm gonna squat up. I'm gonna protect myself. Like he starts taking charge of everything. I don't know. And then he's like real sweet to his mom. I don't know. It's just this is the hottest Neville is in the series.
I get it.
True, because he goes to the hospital. They see him at the hospital, don't they, in the book?
Yeah.
I
And
really
she
need
like
to
hands him
reread
a
this one.
gum wrapper, and he like
Yeah.
gently pockets it.
Oh,
Very
Neville.
sweet. Anyway, so he takes literally 10 points from Hermione because she's a mudblood, and he is like, now that Umbridge is in charge, things are going to be like changing around here, and that's what gives me this audacity, and that's like quite scary, I think, to read.
I have an additional question re the castle's acceptance of Umbridge. Okay. So if we're assuming that the castle locked her out of the headmaster suite, because it's like, no, you aren't. Are the like house point scales going rogue, or do the house
because
points
those are automatic?
Yeah, is it like a Beauty and the Beast scenario where each part of the castle has its own slight consciousness and they get to like choose?
Oh man, you would think that Hogwarts is like a unified being. You would think.
Right.
Yeah, it's its own conscious magic. Well, it's not conscious, but you know what I mean. It's one single entity.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if like half of my brain is like being way too literal about it and being like, well, maybe because Malfoy's a prefect and he's allowed to take points from certain people, like the house hourglass just doesn't know. But then the other side of me is like, maybe the castle just thinks it's funny to do both.
Maybe the hourglasses are like rebelling. They're like, no, we'll take her. Yeah, fuck it. Why not? Do you know how much work this woman is giving us? We've had this is the most purpose we've had in years. People giving points, taking points left and right. Also, what a change up that Slytherin's in the lead. House scales are in it for the drama.
Harry Potter, he leaves wherever they are. Fred and George come up to him. They describe how Montague tried to like pull this points thing on Fred and George, but they shoved him into a vanishing cabinet, which probably never comes up ever again. So just like forget about it. Like We don't have to worry about it.
Not a big deal.
It's completely fine.
Can I? Okay, sorry, not to unveil what you just said, but like, isn't that vanishing cabinet in the room of requirement?
Yeah, it's in like a version of the Room of Requirement, right? Not
No,
the
it's-
version Harry's using this year.
Yes, room requirement shifts. It's in the lost objects section. But I
Yeah,
think it
lost
might be
objects.
moved there by Malfoy because he's the one experimenting with it to see if he can get people in or out.
Right, because that confused me because it said, I thought they said, oh, we put them in the vanishing cabinet on the first floor. And I was like, oh, I thought it was in the room of requirement, but maybe you're right that Malfoy actually
maybe
brings
he
it
moves
there.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong, and like maybe you also don't remember. Oh my god, it's the multiverse of madness. Like I'm seeing all the Harry Potters in front of me, and I have no idea what book what I'm remembering is from. Maybe earlier in this book, maybe last book. Harry's like getting written up by Filch for something, and nearly headless Nick like fucking like shoves a shelf and like breaks it, or shoves a cabinet and breaks it to like get him out of that. I think that is the same fucking vanishing cabinet.
Oh.
He broke it.
He's the one that broke it. Because Malfoy's the one repairing it. Yeah. And, I do think these little details are the things about, like, the attention to detail and those little references are what make this series so special, I think. Just that, the Vanishing Cabinet doesn't come out of nowhere. It's been mentioned in a bunch of the books before. And I think that's just, that continuity is really important.
I agree. It especially delighted me, like, as a kid reading these. Like, it made me feel smart that I could keep track of stuff. And be like, wait a second.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know if you guys ever read the book Holes by Louis Sacca.
Oh, my God. Much.
Yeah,
Yes.
which I think is the foundation of kids reading a book that references back to everything that happens in the book.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
That book holds up so hard. Okay.
As does the movie.
Yeah, the movie's really great, too, especially with the rapping they let Shia LaBeouf do at the end.
Yeah. I could rap it for you right now if you wanted to, but I won't.
Yes. No, yes.
Give us a couple lines.
Drop some bars.
2 suits, 2 tokens in hand. I got no respect because I'm the caveman. Okay, that's sort of all I
love
remember at the moment.
I love
Something
it.
about
Thank you
shoes
so
full
much.
of sand.
Actually, yeah, that's right. And then there's armpit, and he's like, ARMPI to the T. What is that, you smelling dog? That's me. I don't take showers and I don't brush my teeth. That's all I do is eat, dig holes, and sleep.
And that kid, Zigzag, is doing the deep part. He's like, you
Got to go dig those
those
holes.
And when that movie came out, I was like 14, and I was like, that guy's hot.
Oh!
Yep.
But then they've got Zero going, oh!
Yep.
If you ever do a review of Holes, I'd love to be part of that.
One of our first Patreon bonus episodes of this show ever, maybe like number 2 or 3, was sorting the Holes characters into Hogwarts houses.
That is such a good idea for like a podcast.
It's so easy.
The sorting ceremony.
There is a podcast, I think it's called Sorted.
Yeah, right.
Unless I think it's literally called Sorted. They're on my guest crush list somewhere. They do exactly that. They take a different fandom every week and sort them. I've only done it for a couple.
That's
Holes,
so good.
Brooklyn Nine-Nine, fucking Bob's Burgers.
Ah.
That one's coming out in a couple months.
What would Bob would absolutely be a Hufflepuff?
No.
Gryffindor?
That's not what we decided.
Okay.
I'll give this is our only sneak peek into the Patreon bonus episode. As little as $5 a month, you can get our bonus episodes. We sorted Bob into Ravenclaw because he is really obsessed with like the art of the burger. He delights in learning more about it and spending time in his craft.
I like that.
He's like the mad scientist Ravenclaw.
Yeah, gotcha.
Fred and George are like, Harry fucking Potter, are you ready for some mayhem? Because we are literally trying to get expelled right now.
They're like, we have decided that our only way out of this mess is shenanigans.
Shenanigans. They say phase 1 is about to begin. And Harry's like, I should get out of here.
Yeah.
Everyone does. Everyone that they were talking to is like, I have something to do in another room.
Which, good for them. I love Fred and George so much. I love that they have this reputation. I love that they have each other to, like, feel confident doing something really kind of, like, unadvisable like this. But, like, it's so perfect.
It's literally, though, like, the myth of, like, you know, like, who is it? Bill Gates, like, dropping out of college because he already knew too much. Like, it's that
true.
move. They're like, yeah, you have nothing left to teach us. We have all the foundation we need to open a really good joke shop. We're going to go out on an advertisement.
I think an important difference. Oh my God. Well, but is it even a difference? I was going to say that people doing like tech startups in Silicon Valley have like angel investors, but then Fred and George don't not have investors. Not that Harry asked for anything in return, but at least when they leave the school, they have like an actual functioning business with like an actual plan. And I love that for them. Entrepreneurs.
I also love how they refer to it as phase 1, like it's
Oh yeah,
like
they
it's,
wrote it down a long time ago.
like it's the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Like, so this is phase 1, and then, you know, in phase 2 we'll bring in some of the other products and stuff.
Do you think that this plan would have gone down if Umbridge had not occurred and they stayed at Hogwarts for the full 8 years? Do you think this would have been like their last week at Hogwarts after they passed their final exams?
Oh yeah, that's fun. You do like a field day for the students and you do some fireworks politely and stick around to clean them up.
Yeah.
You know what I kind of thought about when I was reading this today is like, I actually think Dumbledore would have a real soft spot for Fred and George because, you know, Dumbledore and I think Dumbledore would have caught wind that this happened and he'd be like, oh yeah, those guys were always going to do something like that. I'm happy for them. Do you know what I mean? Like, I reckon.
Yeah, I think that if they did this while he was just chilling as headmaster, he would take them into his office. He'd shake their hands. He'd be like, that was a pretty good bit of magic. And then he would very, very politely give them detention.
Yeah.
You know, like absolutely
Like,
enthused the entire time.
And it would be like that teacher who's like, yeah, I've got to give you detention. Like, I love what you've done. It's my responsibility. But like, it is my headcanon that before Dumbledore died, he just wandered into Weasley's Wizard Wheezes and like surprised Fred and George and just looked around and maybe bought like a stink bomb or something.
Oh my God, yes. Told you I'm reading Half-Blood Prince right now, and like Dumbledore keeps being gone for long periods of time because he's wrapping up his life. Okay, right? He's like, I'm gonna die at this time.
Yeah.
What if one of the little trips he went on was to go visit Diagon Alley and visit Fred and George?
Yeah, and I like the idea that like Fred and George see like their headmaster come in and they're like, oh my God, shit, are we in trouble or something? And it's like, and he's just like, hey guys, like I've heard about what you're doing, think it's really cool. I'm gonna pick up a stink bomb. So thanks for that.
Okay. Mike, I actually have a question. As someone who clearly connected with these books as a teen boy,
Yeah.
what am I missing about the number of things that just smell bad in terms of this magical universe? Because like even in this chapter, Filch is like, oh, you kids with your stink pellets. And I'm like, never once in my life have I been like, I would like to make this room smell bad as a prank.
People used to do it in high school.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't actually like. Did you guys have? I assume you had whoopee cushions in America.
What is a whoopee cushion?
Oh, you don't have whoopee cushions. Oh, a whoopee cushion is like.
Wait, Christina, are you fucking around? Yeah.
Explain it, Brooke.
I don't know. I don't know what you guys have and don't have.
I would love to hear someone explaining to someone for the first time what a whoopee cushion is.
Well, I was actually thinking about it. No, but like, I remember I think farts are just funny. Like, I just think farts are eternally funny.
Okay, I can understand the inherent comedy in a fart. I don't agree with it, but I understand where other people connect to it.
Well, and I think that the sound is funnier than the smell.
That's what I'm saying. The sound is the funny part of a fart. This book has dung bombs and stink pellets, which are mentioned repeatedly as a prank.
Well, they're obviously two different here's what I'm envisioning. A dung bomb is something you put in the hallway and set off and run, and it like smells up the whole hallway. A stink pellet is something small that you can throw at an individual. You know what I mean? And it's like, you're stinked now. That's how you know those little things you can throw, and when they hit the ground, they explode slightly?
Yeah.
I gotta say, I definitely think the sound of a fart is funnier than the smell, but I do think there is humor in the smell. Because I think there's that whole thing of like, oh, who did that? That's gross. Like that is such a moment, especially in school. There's just comedy in whiffing a fart when you're in like year 8 history class and like having to determine who's done that fart without the teacher getting annoyed. That's funny. So I think there is comedy in the smell if you open yourself up to it.
That's funny. I think that, like, I don't make a ton of fart jokes with my friends, you know, and then it's like, that's sad if I can't joke with my friends. But I do some fart jokes with my husband, my cats. You know, sometimes your cat's laying with their face right in your crotch, and then you rip a fart, and they are so unbothered. Okay, great. Well, I'm glad that we finally had the big fart conversation on the podcast, because this whole time I've been wondering, like, what makes a fart so funny?
The pressure's really been building on that.
Yeah, I'm gonna let it rip soon. Okay, so Filch comes to fetch Harry because Umbridge has summoned him. And this is so cringe to bear witness to. Is she dumb? Is she, like, really stupid?
She crafted herself a headmistress sign. Like, overnight, she got out some gold paint
Target.
and hand-lettered herself a headmistress.
It was like a
sign.
customizable, like, Target kit. And she just, like, did the stencils for the word headmistress instead of her name. Got gold paint.
It's literally a large wooden block with gold paint. I'm like, she just nipped down to the craft store.
Okay, so Umbridge sits Harry down and she's like, here, have some fucking tea. Well, no, she's like, what kind of beverage do you want? A tea, a juice, a water, a Bloody Mary, like a shot of whiskey, like whatever you want. Here it is. And he's like, obviously not.
Yeah.
Like, why would I drink this? Give me one reason why I would drink this.
She's like smiling at him. She's like, that's what I'm asking. Like, does she think she's being slick right now? Like, I never took her for, like, so stupid.
I guess the thing is, like, it's worked before. Because, like, isn't this how she got it out of, what's her name? Marietta?
It's unclear if Umbridge hit Marietta with the Veritaserum, but she has a precedent of doing it. But at least Cho doesn't know if that's true, because when Harry and Cho fight about it in whatever, is that in this chapter?
Yes, yeah.
She's like, well, you know, things have been really hard for her, and, like, her dad works for her parent works for the ministry. And so, like, Cho isn't like, she was fucking pressured to under Veritaserum. Like, what's wrong with you? You know, and, like, she would probably have said that. Maria probably would have told her, because why wouldn't you?
But she might not have known that she had been slipped Veritaserum. Because I think that's sort of like the charm of what
Oh my God.
Umbridge is doing.
She thinks she just narked, like, so hard by accident. Like, what?
Because it's like, you know, like, just as Harry's walked in, like, you walk in and she's like, hey, how are you? Have a tea. Come on, I just want to chat to you. Like, it's really...
The more I think about Marietta, the sadder I get for her. Like, she deserved to be not part of this book series. Like, just go live your life, girl. Umbridge is like, you actually must have a drink. And so he asks for tea. And, like, honestly, Harry's so dumb so much of the time that I love seeing him figure anything out and do anything about it. So he's like, this could be poison.
But funnily enough, he actually thinks of Mad-Eye Moody. And, like, he's like, oh, what would Moody think if I took a drink from one of my enemies? But the other thing I found really funny about it is it actually says that, like, Umbridge, like, made a very deliberate and, like, obvious thing of, like, oh, just putting the milk in with her back to it.
It's like she's trying to get him to call her out. Like, maybe she has, like, a monologue prepared and he hasn't, like, said the right thing to activate the monologue.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But it's just like he's seeing her, like, behind, like, putting the milk in. She must be, like, getting a little vial and being like, yep, just putting the last few drops in, and then turning around, there we go. Like, she's not exactly making it she's not making it subtle that she's slipping something into the drink.
No. She's really showboating it.
Well, she also, like, I don't know how immediate Veritaserum has been proven to be in the books, but literally he takes one fake sip of tea and she's like, very good, enjoy that tea. Where is Albus Dumbledore?
I think it takes no more than, like, a minute, because at the end of the Goblet of Fire, they give Barty Crouch Jr. the Veritaserum, and he monologues for the next 45 minutes.
That is true.
So it's between 1 and 45 minutes, at least.
But she literally just like, she's like immediately is like, all right, one sip of tea. Surely that's done it.
Yeah.
Spill your secrets.
Not even like breaking the ice for a bit and just testing like rudimentary stuff to see if it's worked. Like, oh, so you're in 5th year now? Yeah, I am.
Yeah, can you confirm the spelling of your name?
She's like, where's Dumbledore? I don't know. I think you do. Have another sip.
Well, that's the other thing. It's like, if she thinks it's worked and he says, I don't know, then why doesn't she go, dang it. You know what I mean? Like, wouldn't you just back off?
She wants him to drink. She's like, drink it up, bitch. And he's like, cool, yeah. And he's like pressing his lips together. He's letting it like run down his.
He's like, yummy tea.
She doesn't notice that, I guess. I don't know. He's handling it though, and I respect that for him for once.
Well, and then he's like, I really don't know. And she's like, well, I guess it's worked. In that case, let's move on to point 2. Where's Sirius Black?
Harry's like, trust me when I say I don't know anything.
Well, she talks about, she's like, I almost caught him in the flu network. And it's like, okay, you're not wrong, but that doesn't mean he has any idea of where he's coming from.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know. Look, Umbridge is not a smart lady. And like, she's not smart in such an aggressive way that like, you can't imagine anything that she has ever done in her life has worked out.
Yeah, she's just like obtuse.
Well, I think part of the reason she's like so off the rails here is because like, I think this is literally the first time in her life she's been given any amount of responsibility and power.
Yeah, that makes sense. She's received 0 leadership training.
She's just like failed her way to the top.
Right. And now
and Fudge
someone's
has
like
been giving her really good pay and bennies for years now, so that's why she's loyal to him. Oh my god, is this the case for Umbridge? I've never heard this in my life.
I don't think it like redeems her in any way, just the way I don't think that any of Snape's bullshit redeems him. I just do think that like she's got all the markings of someone who is like really running with her only opportunity to exert some power and impress her boss. Like she is someone who has been in a cashier role at a Walmart for like her entire life, and someone has just promoted her to shift lead.
Yeah, and she doesn't thrive.
No. Literally, her boss would basically, I mean, her boss is kind of off the rails too, but in a normal environment, her boss would have to sit her down and be like, okay, so you can't reject people asking off for Christmas just because you want to.
I just always think about that Tywin Lannister quote where he says, like, any man who needs to shout that he is king is no king. And, like, Umbridge is just...
Anyone who needs to hand letter a sign to say that she's headmistress is not headmistress.
That's exactly right. I'm going to hand letter that onto a sign, Brooke, because that was a good joke. There's a loud boom. And Harry, Umbridge looks at it. And Harry uses her distraction to pour his tea into the dried flowers. They're screaming and running. And then Umbridge is like, go. And then she also goes, we all go. Someone has set off like a giant crate of enchanted fireworks. It's, quote, pandemonium.
I think this whole moment here, and we know who's done it. I haven't read this book in particular in a long time, so I was thinking in the movie, again, this is just a moment. Like this just sort of happens and then Fred and George fly away, right? But in the book, it's like much more of like these firework dragons are just in the school for like...
It takes like so long for them to leave.
Yeah. Whereas in the...
Because they still have their pond prank to play too, which is like my favorite part of maybe the whole book series is the pond in the hallway.
Yeah. And so... But it's like interesting because these dragon fireworks are just flying around into classrooms and stuff. And then it allows like the teachers to rebel against Umbridge. Like...
It's so empowering to everyone, like, truly. Yeah.
Like, because Flitwick says, oh, I didn't know if I had the authority to remove them, Professor Umbridge, and stuff like that. And, yeah.
So good. And when he says that, it says he's beaming, and then he slams the door in her face.
Yeah,
beaming.
Yeah. Okay.
Umbridge, like, when Fred first set these off, Umbridge tries to stun one, and it comes like right for her. And I forget what they say, but they're like, if she tries this, they duplicate, or like
if she tries
whatever.
to vanish them, they multiply by 10.
By 10.
So I think Fred actually goes, oh, I hope she vanishes them. Like, he wants it to happen. Which I'm surprised he doesn't shout out, like, try vanishing them, Professor. That might help.
He probably would. Oh, and there's that. Okay, Filch is like running to Umbridge's aid, and Umbridge tries to stun it, and it doesn't work. And then she's like, God, Filch, don't fucking stun them. And Filch is like, right you are, ma'am. And does she not know that he's a squib, probably?
Certainly not.
Yeah, because
Hasn't noticed.
I was going to say, like, it's really interesting that Mr. Filch is so, like, enamored by Umbridge, because Umbridge would hate someone like him. Umbridge hates, like, people like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, surely she does not know, because he would be on her shit list if she knew.
Exactly. So I just thought it was really interesting that, like, he's so... Because he must know that she's anti, like, Muggleborn, she's anti-squib, she's anti-non-human. Like, I just found that interesting.
It's because she's promising him shit. And, like,
Yeah,
not
right.
asking questions.
Yeah, like, I think if she's the general manager, he's the assistant to the general manager.
Yeah.
He's the Dwight.
Mm-hmm.
Guys, my husband just brought me French fries from McDonald's.
Oh,
Nice.
Yum.
Not that many, just a little snick snack.
Their Happy Meal sized fries is the exact right amount of fries.
I'll have a heart attack otherwise. The fireworks just live here now. It's great fun, as we mentioned. Like, I love it so much. They seem to not be hurting anybody at all.
No, everyone's just really enjoying the fact that they're there.
Yeah. They're fun. They're fun to watch.
The book, I liked this term. Harry wonders how Fudge would react when he heard that the school had spent most of the day in a state of advanced disruption.
Advanced disruption.
And that's kind of what it is. Like, outside of them, like, going after Umbridge, the fireworks aren't bothering anyone. They're just very disruptive.
Very distracting. Yeah. Even if they're not in the class you're in, you're still just waiting for them to roll in. You know what I mean? Send the fireworks. So, so it's empowering and energizing everyone, including Hermione. She's like, guys, what if we didn't even do any homework tonight?
Ain't no party like a Hermione Granger party, man.
Like, have you guys ever been enabled so easily? Like, when Sean's like, should I just get McDonald's for dinner? And you're like, yes. I was just waiting for you to ask.
That's so funny. Also, in Australia, we just call them chips, by the way, not fries.
Oh, yeah, I know.
I know,
chips.
but chips are something else. Chips are crisps.
We call crisps chips as well. We call
That's
any
stupid.
potato-based snack just chips.
It's all chips.
It's all a chip.
I mean, I get it. A potato's a potato.
Yeah, exactly.
But chips and chips are different.
Chips and chips are different, but I would take either.
That if I asked for chips and I got chips, I'd be mad.
Well, you're right about that. I've been in that position before. They're like $1 extra for chips instead of chips. And you're like, what? On their night off homework, they all go to bed. Guess what? Guess what Harry Potter's dreaming about, guys?
He's dreaming about the Department of Mysteries, isn't he?
Just a corridor.
Oh my God, whoa.
What a surprise. But I love how he lets it all in. Because doesn't he say, like, when he wakes up, oh no, like, Snape's going to be so angry with me if he learns that I just, like, he knows it's dangerous, but he's like, oh, I just have to find out about this. So he just does it
I
anyway.
kind of get that. I feel like almost nothing Harry Potter does make sense to me, but wanting to know how the dream ends does make sense to me.
Yeah, true.
We also get one very important development about the fireworks right now, which is that a Catherine wheel, which, do we want to define that? Did you Google it? Or have you not Googled it yet still?
Catherine
Mike, did you know what a Catherine wheel was?
Zeta-Jones.
Is this an American thing or is this a...
No,
Okay.
I have no idea what a Catherine
Okay, it's a
wheel
rock
is.
band. It's a rock band.
I
for
saw that
starters.
as well. No, you have to look up fireworks.
Okay, so Catherine Wheel is like a really high energy bananas, like spiraling like out of this world. Oh my
Type of
gosh, they're
firework.
so intense.
It's like a
what?
pinwheel on
It's
fire.
a pinwheel. It looks like the sun, but not nearly as much as the sun.
But
if
it's
you feel
also
me.
it's also a torture device, apparently.
Whoa.
What does it do as a torture device?
Used for public execution, and it breaks bones of a criminal or by bludgeoning them to death. I think you put someone in it and you turn the wheel and their bones just...
Oh, I feel like I've seen that in like Princess Bride or something. Something like that.
I thought that was the rack. The rack like stretches them. Is this like
It's two different things. Princess Bride is the rack, but in something like that, I've seen a Catherine wheel.
Is it like the wheel, like Wheel of Fortune wheel, but it's just hitting them in the head every time they go by?
Possibly, yeah.
You said bludgeoning. I'm just
I'd like-
assuming.
While I'm here, I'd like to buy a vowel.
Wait, but a Catherine wheel is also like a fucking wheel. Like a really regular wheel you'd see on like a wagon. Like a wooden wheel. Okay, wow. We're
Well,
learning
in this
so much
book,
about
a Catherine
right
wheel
now.
hits a rocket and it makes fireworks that are flying pigs.
Love that.
So the fireworks are able to mate, as the book calls it, which I'm glad it's not
As
actual
Seamus-
mating.
That's what Seamus Finnegan calls it.
I'm imagining two dragon fireworks fucking on the Hogwarts lawn.
And Gryffindor Tower's like, wow, neat.
Harry just starts explaining gently to Neville what's going on.
Okay, so the next day, Cho fucking Chang, like she's even part of this plot anymore, corners Harry Potter as he's trying to walk to clemency. She's like, sorry about Marietta, but she's my bitch and you can't say a word against her. And Harry Potter's like, well, I think she's a fucking bitch. Okay, I think Harry Potter's being pretty harsh here, especially since he just got targeted with the Veritaserum. Like, the book, the author, just a joke, rolling, put these two things next to each other so we would be like, oh, but Harry can't do it.
Or he can't do the maths. He's too emotionally charged in this.
He's just a big dumb dummy dumb. Like he doesn't even have like the marginal amount of empathy to be like, if this happened to Ron, how would I feel?
Yeah, exactly.
And actually-
and he tries to act like he does. He's like, but Ron.
Yeah, because she's like, oh, her mum works for the ministry. Ron's
Ron's
dad
parents are
works
good
for the
people,
ministry.
though.
He didn't go and blab.
And you're like, Ron's dad is locked in a closet looking at doorknobs. Let's not pretend that these two are equivalent.
So Marietta is in the hospital wing missing school because of what happened to her, perhaps under coercion. Cho is like defending her. Harry, okay, she's like, that was a really bad thing your friend Hermione did. And Harry's like, I think it's genius. And like, it's actually not that genius, but it is pretty horrible if you ask me. I don't think it's that genius. Cho Chang is like, oh yeah, I forgot it was your darling fucking Hermione. And Harry says, don't start crying again. Is my favorite line. Why?
I actually did think it was interesting that she brought up Hermione, because it's like, clearly Cho has some lingering jealousy that Harry might be more into Hermione than her.
Yeah, it all stems from their horrific Valentine's Day date in Hogsmeade.
Oh, right.
Because that went so poorly because Harry was like, I need to meet Hermione at noon. And Cho Chang was like, oh yeah, I guess you can leave our date to meet fucking Hermione at noon. And Harry was like, Hermione said it wouldn't matter if you came. And Cho was like, oh, fucking thanks, I guess. Oh my God, it's just the worst. Their whole thing is just the worst.
Yes. Cho does get, I think, a pretty good line, though, here, because Harry's being an angsty little bitch, being like, I've got enough to cope with at the moment. And Cho goes, go cope with it, then. And just
And
leaves.
she walks away.
Yeah, she's
Love
like,
that for her.
I don't have time for your whiny bullshit.
I love that for her. She's busy helping her friend Marietta fucking cope. Okay, great. So it's a perfect time for an occlumency lesson. Mike, can you say that word for me?
Which one?
The O word.
Which one? Oh,
Occlumency.
occlumency.
Occlumency. Wait, how you say, Brooke?
I always went with a clemency.
I always went with occlumency.
Oh, we're seeing where does I guess that's the question. Okay. I'm asking everyone.
I would say occlumency.
I no longer know how I would organically say it.
Has Christina left us
frozen?
aggressively?
Christina has become so angry at the occlumency drama that she has actually frozen. Now you're back now, Christina.
Oh my God. That's unusual. That must be because my husband's streaming something on television.
Maybe it's because he brought you chips. It could be that.
Yeah, I always pronounced it like clemency with an like.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
A clemency. What's the like Latinate breakdown of it? What's the root word?
Oh, certainly occult is in there, right? Like,
see, I think it's like an eye doctor is an optometrist, and you get like an Oculus headset that's related. You know what I mean?
True.
I thought it might be in edameonline.com, which is one of my favorite websites, but it's actually not in there. Usually, even the divination terms are like actual words that exist.
Apparently it comes from the Latin word occludere, meaning to shut up, and mens for mind. So it's like to shut your mind.
Okay, well, that makes perfect sense.
Mm.
So then it would be a clemency.
Possibly, yeah.
Okay, I'm still just going to say it in between or like vacillating between the two. Oscillating, not vacillating. Okay, Malfoy bursts into the room and Snape is like, don't worry about Potter. He's here from remedial potions. And Malfoy's like, I'm always worried about Potter.
My favorite part of the remedial potions thing is that Snape intentionally decided that was the cover story just to fuck with Harry, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
for sure.
surely.
It could be detentions.
Harry's like, everyone thinks I'm a big dumb idiot.
Well, I mean, with Snape's bullying, he does not do well in this class, so.
You know what else I think is funny about it? Is like, they're clearly not doing potions. So it's like...
That's true, too.
They've got their wands pointed at each other.
Yeah, and then Malfoy actually, like, mouths remedial potions to him, like, behind Snape's back. It's like, I'm going to tell everyone about this.
Yeah.
But then I just feel like Harry would be like, well, he was lying. We're actually doing secret classes to help me be a stronger wizard. So, sorry, mate. And, like, Malfoy would hate that. Malfoy, if anything, it feels like, in a way, Snape was trying to help Malfoy's ego because, like, if Malfoy knew Harry Potter was doing secret classes with Snape to be a stronger wizard, he would absolutely be livid.
See, I'm just assuming that it's gotta be... like, I think that no one would believe that Snape was trying to help Harry even a little bit, even once ever.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, it's gotta be something where it's like, I guess I'm giving you remedial potions classes so that you don't kill us all.
Because he's so bad.
Okay, so Malfoy bursts in because Umbridge found Montague stuck in a toilet and needs Snape's help. And Snape is like, I'm on it.
How did the toilet happen? Because surely the vanishing cabinet didn't vanish him into a toilet.
It's broken.
Yeah.
And it's been like a couple weeks.
So we're assuming he's been stuck in a toilet for weeks?
No.
Or like in between. I think it even specifically says that he's like in between.
Yeah, because I think like, because the cabinet's broken and the other one is in Borgin and Burke's, it's like trying to get him to Borgin and Burke's, but he sort of gets stuck in some weird cabinet limbo. And like, then it's just like, we don't know what to do with this. So it just goes toilet and just like flushes him out into there, I think. I don't know. It's just magic.
Yeah. In the books, we see this happen to Montague and like he's in between the cupboards or whatever, and like he can't land anywhere. All we hear is like these vague things about the cabinet. Like, we don't actually see anything because we're with Harry. So, like, we don't actually see anything. It's the movie that is, like, Draco Malfoy's, like, doing all these tests with these birds and it's fucking killing them. So, my headcanon is that the birds are fine. They just get sent to some crazy wonderland and they just, like, flutter away. And they're like, oh, my God, where am I? I'm in a totally different part of the world.
Or they're just all going to the same toilet for a toilet party.
Okay, so Snape is like, all right, we'll do our lesson tomorrow. He runs out. Harry fucking Potter is like, oh, is that pensive?
I just love this because it just shows how fucking like brazen and rebellious Harry is, where he's like, oh, I don't know, there could literally be anything on the other side of this pensive. There could be like a memory of Snape losing his virginity for all he knows, but he's just like...
Or like something way worse than that, like a sexual assault or something, you know what I mean? Like
or
it
like
could
a
be
murder.
anything. A murder.
He was a whole Death Eater for like a minute. Surely there's a murder in there.
Or like Snape's foot fetish or something. Like, I don't know. Mm-hmm. And then he's just like...
could be a lot.
He's like, fuck it, I'll take a look. You might be useful to me. I'll dip my head in, dip my feet in, so to speak.
It just so happens to be like so relevant to Harry and his life and like what he wants to learn about.
Yeah, it was the specific memory for Harry. Is that how it works with a pensieve? Is it like there's just one memory in there at the time, or like could it have just been any random one of Snape's memories?
I think it could have been any of them.
So it doesn't imply that Snape was revisiting that memory before Harry got there.
Oh, interesting.
Kind of thought maybe Snape was like, oh, I've got to see Potter tonight. I used to hate his dad. I'm going to watch that memory. Like,
pull it up on the TV.
Yeah, pull it up on the big screen.
I think the wilder thing is that he takes out high school bullying so Harry can't access that, but he leaves in childhood abuse trauma, no problem.
But wait, so
we gotta pick and choose.
When you take a memory out and put it in a pensieve, is that actually removing it from your actual brain?
Yes.
I feel like because when I was reading this, I was like, there's no way. It doesn't seem like the memory's gone.
No,
like,
yeah.
He's like, I know exactly what's in there. Like, it just seems weird to me. Like the whole, hey, guess what? It's like kind of soft magic. Like it doesn't add up. Like it makes no sense to me.
But then you think of Slughorn in the next book because he takes it out, but it's like he's given his memory to Dumbledore, but it's like a manipulated memory, but he still has the original one in there.
Yeah, so he knows what's in there.
So I never thought of it like that. I just thought it was a way you could revisit them outside of your own head.
Yeah. Doesn't make a ton of sense to me. It's not that fucking clear. Okay, get used to it. Okay, so we're in Snape's memory now. No, here's my question. I remembered the question I wanted to ask. Here's the fucking question. Harry fucking Potter is like, yeah, I'll dive right into that pensieve, but he doesn't know how to get out of a pensieve. Like, he doesn't know how to get out. He's never done it before. He has no idea.
You come in through the sky, and you go out through a sky. So I'm assuming the way that you get out is you just put your arms up like Superman and jump real hard.
Yeah, you just jump. Use a levitating charm on yourself and just go up to the sky.
Yeah, because it's always like they're pulling, Dumbledore and Snape both, it's like they're pulling on him. So maybe it's true. You just go up.
Maybe you're trapped in there until the memory ends, unless someone takes you out of it.
You have to crop it like a video clip.
Yeah. But it's funny because he does weigh up like the time risk. He's like, do I have time to take a peek in here? Is Snape going to go to the hospital wing? Is he going to come straight back? And like, the thing is, he has no idea how long this memory could possibly be. But he's just like, yeah, I should have time.
What
like
if it's like a whole day of terror? Like, what if it takes forever and he doesn't know how to get out?
Yeah. Like, it's just, this is such a risky move, but he just doesn't. Like, I do think maybe because of all the trauma Harry has had as a kid, he just never sort of learnt, like, proper like risk assessment and like I don't know, just being able to analyze situations properly, because he's always just so stupid like this.
Well, I totally agree, because I think that with stuff like this, he's really reckless. But then with certain things, like he has that line where he's like, "I wish I could give the Weasleys some of my money, but they would never take it, and I'm not gonna fucking ask because I don't know how to." So it's like some things he's like, "I do not," or like even talking to Cho on their date, he's like, "I do not know what to do here, so I'm gonna do nothing." But then other times he jumps in head first to stuff, like arguing
Literally
with
head
Cho.
first, yeah.
Or this fucking pensive. He goes, we're in Snape's memory now, guys. Great. Just great. This is just where I wanted to be.
Now,
it's the owls. Go ahead.
Can I just make a statement about why this moment of the Harry Potter books is probably one of my favorite moments in the books? And I know it's pretty obvious, but just to like put my own words to it, is like what you see in this chapter, and it actually says it at the end of the chapter, is that like it just totally warps the reality of what Harry thought was true. And he sees that his dad and Sirius were pretty, like particularly his dad, were really arrogant bullies, like almost like Malfoy, like not in the same way, but they were bullies and they bullied.
Kind of in the same way,
Well,
though.
yeah.
Very
actually-
similar way.
Probably worse. Like Malfoy never fucking levitates Harry and, you know, tries to take his pants off and stuff. And it's like, and then you see Snape and you see him for like a really vulnerable kid who's like, he's not that attractive. Like he's described as having like greasy hair and like he's not an attractive kid.
A lot of teenagers have greasy hair, okay?
I still have
And
greasy
dirty
hair.
underpants, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, the dirty underpants kind of get me, but it doesn't say dirty. It says graying. Like maybe he doesn't
Like
have a lot
old.
of money.
Yeah,
you know?
I thought it was, yeah. But then just like, you know, James's brashness and overconfidence and arrogance, and he is a bit of an asshole. And maybe that does harken back to Malfoy at the start of the chapter. Like maybe that's why that was there, because it's just like,
For sure. It's
Yeah.
like, remember how much bullies suck?
yeah. And I just think like there's so much characterization, and we will get to it, but like so much, you see Lupin there, and Lupin is just sort of like the silent bystander. He doesn't really participate, and he sort of doesn't focus on the bullying, but he knows it's happening. And then you see Peter Pettigrew, who's like, you know, lapping at James, throwing the snitch or whatever in the air and catching it. And there is just so much characterization of all of these boys. And I just think this is just one of the, because as the reader as well, you see that Harry's dad was not a great dude at school.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think that's really important.
I think it also calls into question Harry's hero worship of Sirius. You know, because we see Sirius as like an aggressor at worst and an enabler at best in this kind of bullying.
Especially when he's like trying to cope. Oh no. I was about to say trying to cope with his death because I've been reading Half-Blood Prince, but that hasn't happened yet.
Just go and
He's still
cope.
alive.
Nothing. It's just okay, so let's go through it. It's owls. There's Snape, there's James, Sirius, Lupin, Wormtail. Okay, we're all taking the owls. The reason we start here is so we can like look at them while they're just sitting there, I guess. I don't know, man. You could have just started this scene down by the lake, but like whatever.
Just want nice long descriptions of everybody's features.
Yeah, really lean into it. The book's only 870 pages long. Like you have room.
I do have one thing that I noticed painfully during reading this chapter, because they describe the fact that, like, right, Harry looks, it's like it's a copy of his face, but the eyes are different. And then he sees his mom and he's like, there are my eyes. And I realized that I gave birth to a Harry Potter because my daughter looks exactly like my husband, but with my eyes, and that's it.
Aww.
And eyebrows.
And eyebrows. She also
Goes
got my
all the way
eyebrows.
up. Those eyes go all the way up, baby.
Not the color, just the shape.
They be looking at you like you're stupid. So the test is over. The Marauders walk outside. They're like talking about the exam. I'm a little confused actually, because someone explained this to me, because they take the exam and Professor Flitwick, a young, hot Professor Flitwick, is like, Accio exam.
We don't know that.
Well, it's implied. He's like Accio exams, and they all like fly at him. And then like all of these people also leave with an exam. What is happening?
He collects the answers and they take the question sheet out with them.
Why are they allowed to take the question sheet out with them?
I think they're having this test all at once on the same day. I don't think there's a need to stagger.
What if you give it to someone like next year or something? I don't know. Like
I'm
to like see.
assuming they adjust the questions.
Yeah, they write new exams every year.
I mean, that's the way they do the SATs or whatever.
Yeah, but do they let you walk out with the SATs?
Yeah, they release. I mean, no,
What?
but that's because of the way the booklet's created. But and that's because they're staggering the test. They give SATs for the same SAT multiple
right.
times in the same year.
Okay, I buy this, but reluctantly and grumpily.
I guess my weirder thing is, why would they care about keeping it? Like, what are you going to do? Go back and reread the test for funsies?
Yeah, I guess you're right. I guess I'm used to like more than me is taking this test.
Hey, one more point of characterization I missed as well that I really liked was Peter Pettigrew doing the exam. He was like looking really nervous, biting his fingernails, and like trying to get glimpses of the person next to him's paper. Again, just like little things like that are really revealing and telling of those characters and those traits. And I think that consistency is just really well written.
Yeah, it's the kind of thing where, like, I feel like at the time they were like, LOL, he, like, cheats. That's so funny. We're all kind of assholes. But, like, long term, it turned into, like, a really bad dude.
Yeah.
Well, and I also like that. I do like that James is doodling Lily's initials on the frickin' desk, I'm guessing, or exam booklet, whatever.
Yeah,
But
the exam. It's the exam.
Because he was doodling LE, right?
Yeah, Lily.
Yeah.
Evans.
Yeah, and Harry was like, whatever could that be?
Yeah.
Must be a spell.
He's such a dodo. It's like, that is your mom. That's your mom.
Moms don't have last names.
They're just mom. So the Marauders walk down to the lake. They're chatting. James is like casually playing with a snitch.
Not
I
casually.
hate this guy.
James is playing with the snitch the same way
Pointedly.
one dude learned how to like spin a basketball on his finger. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah, it's definitely like, I hate this guy so much. Like the way that these books portray him, I'm like, there's nothing to make me like this character.
He is literally
James.
like the classic American jock bully kind of character you see in every like high school movie.
Did your schools have lax bros? Like
Lax
lacrosse players?
No, lacrosse is not very big in Australia.
That's fair.
We have rowing, like
We do rowing too.
Yeah.
the
But
rowers were.
lacrosse is more, I think.
I think the rowers were sort of that kind of style of person.
I call out the Lax Bros specifically for two reasons at this juncture. One, they're like infamous for having like a specific type of long, messy hair. And then two is they carry their fucking lacrosse sticks around with them, just like twisting them back and forth because that's how you like run with a lacrosse ball. And they would literally come into every single class of the whole day just like with their stupid fucking lacrosse sticks. Just back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And then they would like get out in the hall and they would like throw it in the air and catch it and then throw it in the air and catch it. And like
don't sports right in front of my face, dude. Like I'm trying to go to school here.
Well, also like they don't have any like consciousness of where they are in space. They become like a toddler where they're just like running through a grocery store and they don't care if they hit people. You know what I mean? Like, and that's the energy I get from this scene. Like if there was someone in the way between that snitch and James, he would have simply run over them.
Okay, so he's being annoying. Serious fucking black. It says twice in the text how hot he is.
Yeah, it does specifically call that out.
He's hot and he's bored. And so they decide to pick on Severus Snape, who is just sitting there. It's bad and it's hard to watch, if you ask me.
It literally sucks because he's literally like, I'm bored. And James is like, cool, there's that dude we pick on.
Yeah.
And Sirius is like, oh, great. I was going to be sitting here in this beautiful day at the lake with my friends with nothing to do.
That's why you always bring a book, Sirius. A book could have prevented this.
Anything could have prevented this.
More wine.
A 4-day game of Risk could have prevented this.
Okay, so it's just bad. I don't even, did I write? Okay, so James disarms Snape, and then Snape's doing a lot of like profanities and hexes, but it doesn't matter because he doesn't have his wand. So then James does a spell to wash Snape's mouth out with soap. Okay, so I'm just gonna like go through it quickly. Like, we don't need to linger on this. Lily comes over to try. What, you want to linger?
I have one question.
Okay,
so we don't get any particular profanities here. It's just that he starts screaming profanities. We are also told that some of the fireworks, the sparklers of the fireworks, spell out profanities. That's included in this chapter as well. But then the only sparkler we see spelling something is just the word poo.
poo.
So
That's right. That actually took me by surprise.
me too.
I love
I don't
it.
know that I consider that a profanity, and I would like to
That's
know.
an example.
So I'm just imagining in this scene, Snape starts screaming like, "You poopy poop heads, you pooty poo poos."
That's why they wash his mouth out with soap. No, it's bad.
No, it's bad.
It's bad. Lily comes over to try to get James to stop bullying Snape. Okay, great. Instead, James fucking Potter hangs Snape upside down and reveals his underpants, which I think is sexual assault.
So is this positing that no one wears pants under their robes?
I don't know. I don't know.
I'm trying to imagine how turning him upside down reveals the undies. It's gotta
Maybe
be.
he's wearing a skirt and no hate. Probably not, but maybe.
I feel like it's just a no pants, only robes scenario.
So is that the joke? They're like, LOL, you're upside down and it's you don't have any pants like the rest of us.
Do we
That
know
makes
that
it
the rest
kinda
of them
funny.
are wearing pants? Is it canonical in this series that you wear pants under your robes? That is what I'm asking.
That's what we need to know.
It says on the train that they change into their robes, but they do it all in the room together. So it has to be like an overtop situation, I feel like.
But if the robes are billowy enough, you could put it over top and then take pants off from underneath them without revealing yourself.
Oh my God. Don't take the pants off. That's all I have to say.
I think as well, though, on a more serious note, you just again see, it's sort of maybe the first time you see Snape as a vulnerable and, a victim. You see Snape as a victim. I still think this is really poignant because it's it just flips everything on its head. And you kind of see, one, why Snape hates Harry so much, even more than you had before. And two, you feel a shred of sympathy for him in this moment. Because really, this was unprovoked. He was just sitting there and now he's being bullied and mocked. And this is a traumatic moment. This would be traumatizing for anyone to go through. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think that this is a perfect example of, it's an explanation of Snape's behavior. It's not an excuse for the behavior.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's I totally see where you're coming from, but you just have to be the adult in this relationship. Why are you treating him like this?
Totally.
Yeah, you do definitely feel for him. This is probably the only moment that I really feel for him.
Mm.
James literally does not relent. Lily tries to fight him, and then Snape calls her a mudblood. So she's like, "Well, fuck you too." And I hope it doesn't say, but I hope that she's just flipping them both off with one with either hand as she walks away.
But I think the part of this that surprised me so much is how much Lily dislikes James as well, and that they do end up getting married, which maybe suggests that he really.
Yeah. No, I don't get it about James, but I get it about really not vibing with someone and then later being like, wait, you know what? I actually really connect with you.
I guess it implies James maybe mellowed out a bit But I mean, the timeline between this moment and them dying is not that long.
It's like 4 years.
Yeah,
Exactly.
that's the thing. Is like there's
That's
a
important.
rapid escalation of this relationship.
It changes quickly.
And then there's nothing more fucking annoying than the fact that he calls her Evans. What a jock fucking move to call her by her
it's-
last name.
I don't like it.
And that's where
hate it.
that's where I find it a little bit off that she was so hard on James in this moment. Also, one more thing I thought was actually really bad in this chapter is when Lupin comes out of the exam and they're talking about werewolves on the exam, and he's like, 1, he's sitting in my seat. 2, he's me. Like, I just thought it was.
It's so nerdy. It's really
it's
cute.
So I just thought it was dumb.
This whole scene is like does not do Lupin service as a character because he's just like letting it happen, which is something that he's admitted to as an adult. So I don't know. I just like that he's nerdy and awkward, but not a good Gryffindor if you're not standing up for what's right. And that's the thing is like, I guess Gryffindor House has come a long way. Am I saying that correctly? Like Harry and Ron are like way better brave people than James and Sirius and Lupin.
Yeah,
Because they're being bullies.
Was
Harry
Sirius
would
was
never.
a Slytherin, I thought.
No,
Sirius was
Sirius.
Gryffindor.
He's the only one.
Notably not. Okay.
So,
Notably not.
do Harry and Ron ever bully anyone? Do you think in this series?
Wow, what a question. I think that Harry bullies Draco for sure. It's a back and forth thing.
Yeah.
Especially like the more farther along you read. Ron bullies little kids sometimes just like sort of indiscriminately in like a bit of a harmless way.
Yeah,
When he's a
and
prefect.
picks on Ginny a bit.
Certainly Colin Creevy was bullied.
Yeah. I guess I think with Harry and Malfoy, I see it a bit different because the power dynamic doesn't seem as skewed. Like, it feels like they both have as much power and respect as each other in terms of whereas the Snape thing just feels like, 1, it's 4 against 1. 2, Snape is clearly like a lonely, vulnerable person. But
he's just like so just sitting there. That's why this is so hard to watch. Okay. Anyway, fucking enter Snape. The other Snape. Okay, so Harry wasn't even thinking about this. He wasn't even like, I wonder if I don't know how to get out and Snape has to come get me. He's just like watching this scene. He's like obsessed. Snape is livid. Wouldn't you be?
Oh, absolutely.
Like,
it's
he's
such
livid.
an invasion of privacy.
Yeah.
I have an additional pants question. Because this scenario ends with, like, James is like, why is she a bitch? And Sirius is like, because you're an asshole. And James is like, that does track. And then it ends with him saying, who wants to see me take off Snively's pants?
Mm-hmm.
But we've already indicated
It's
that
underpants.
his
It's the underpants.
Yeah, I think
That's the thing.
Sometimes
It
people,
leaves it open ended. It could
It's
have gotten
ambiguous.
worse after this. It could have gotten so much worse.
Did
after
he get
this.
Snape's dick out? Is that what we
That's
missed?
fucked up. I'm like worried about it. Like that's fucked up. Like unequivocally.
Like, is that the next part of this memory?
I'm sad. I'm packing another bowl.
Can I put a another funny image into your head? Don't you think it's funny how when you're in a pensieve, like, is Harry just there in the office in real time with his head in the pensieve? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, is he just like,
I imagine his whole body goes.
No,
Okay.
it is canonical that it's just like you dunk your head in and then it like your spirit
You
leaves
feel
your
like-
body like a Looney Tunes cartoon.
yeah, because Snape's
I
able
don't
to,
know
it says
about
Snape
that.
just grabs him sort of by the scruff of the neck. So it just like, I guess for the duration of that memory in real time, you're just standing there. So like, even when Dumbledore's rewatching a memory, he's just sort of like, like
Well, you can
Like
make
blowing
it,
bubbles.
yeah.
They can make it like stand up like a hologram. They do
Right.
that. No, or is that in
No,
the
that's a
movies
movie
only?
memory. They don't do that in the books. In the books, you simply must dunk your head in the baptismal font. It's the only
Yeah.
way.
Wait, what was the thing in the movies where they make it stand up?
It's not Help Me on Obi-Wan Kenobi or My Only Hope. It's not that.
Wrong fandom.
I forget. He's watching some. I really forget. But Dumbledore at some point is watching like his pensieve, and there's like a 3D scene in it.
Right.
In the movie somewhere.
Yeah.
I
that
think
is
it's
very
when they're
Star
talking about
Wars.
the Slughorn memory. Because he and Harry are watching it together, and I think he's doing a stand-up thing.
Well, only time will tell. We'll find it eventually.
Yeah, I do like the idea of someone just like limp. I like to imagine they go fully limp. Just hanging with their heads in water.
Okay, so Snape pulls him out.
He's mad. He's shaking Harry. He's throwing Harry to the ground. He's dismissing Harry. He's saying never come back, and he's throwing things at Harry. All of which I do get it.
In this moment, this is the only time I think Snape's behavior is completely explainable and justified.
It's justified.
Really?
I would never react this way, but I think that invasion of privacy is extremely fucked up. And Harry did it like so openly and like shamelessly. He's like, I'm gonna look at your memories you're trying to hide from me, bitch. That's
You know what?
fucked up.
I'm going to take the opposite approach. I actually think this is a rare moment where the movie is better. Because firstly, in the movie, it's not a pensieve. It's actually a response to the spell. And then after it, I mean, I just think I can't imagine Snape throwing shit at Harry and like yelling at him. Snape just grabs him by his neck, like by the clothes at his neck, and he just goes, "Get out." And you can kind of feel all of that like exposure and vulnerability and like anger all in those two lines. And maybe that's just a credit to Alan Rickman. But
I was going to say, I think like at every turn, Snape is a better person in the movies. Like at every turn, it's like easier to root for him in the movies because of Alan Rickman. But the book character is a fucking dick.
I just feel like if I like walked in and someone who I didn't like was sitting on my couch reading my diary.
yeah. Yeah. True.
I would probably
You're like, what the
I
fuck are you doing?
Yeah, I would be like, get the whole fuck out of my house. What in the actual hell are you doing? Like, I get it. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like that's like a huge invasion of privacy, and it's so deliberate. It's
Right,
so
exactly.
deliberate. It's literally Harry sat there and was like, I think I have enough time to go poking through Snape's memories.
But that being
Right.
said, I mean, Snape has made no secret of telling Harry about how much of a dickhead his father was. So it's like, I guess maybe
That's a good point.
But I guess he just didn't want Harry to see him being humiliated in this way. Like, I guess
it's bad.
I also think that because the first thing he asks is like, are you enjoying yourself? And I think he thinks that because Harry doesn't like him, that he might be doing it for pleasure. You know what I mean? Like that he's doing this intentionally and enjoying it.
Maliciously, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm not sure in the book, but definitely in the movie as well. I know this is more about the books, but definitely in the movie, you do kind of, I think Daniel Radcliffe actually does quite a good job here of like showing that realization. And I think like Harry Potter in the movies is like, oh shit. Like he knows he shouldn't have seen that, and he feels kind of bad for Snape, both for seeing it and for what happened to him. And I think that I really think the movie version of this, while they compress it a lot, I think they still do quite a good job of it.
Hey, this book is so fucking long. Compress it. See if I care.
Yeah.
Compress it.
Yeah.
You have to. Okay. So now Harry's sad now. He's like, oh, my dad was a bad guy. Cry, cry, cry.
Once again, he only has that revelation about his father. At no point was he like, I gotta ask Sirius what was up with this, because that was kind of deeply not cool.
Yeah, he's like, Sirius, tell me that my father wasn't such a dick. He's not like, can we talk about your behavior?
Yeah.
As my hero? Well, that's the end of the chapter. Mike, is there anything that you wanted to circle back to? Any last words? Like anything we didn't touch on? Any jokes you wrote ahead of time that would be a good time to present them?
No, I think that is an interesting point, because I wonder, like, if Sirius didn't die later in this book, if Harry would have spoken to him more about it. like maybe he had sort of side noted that as a conversation to have with Sirius, but it was like he never really got the chance to.
Like, I want to like that answer, but Harry at every turn is like, especially in this book, like a couple different times he's been like, I want to talk to Sirius about this, but then he never works up the courage.
Well, but another part of it is that Sirius is so sullen in this book. And I think, honestly, seeing him like this as a teen really reinforces the like sulking behavior we see from him this entire time, where he's like, he does have an arrogance to it, where he's like, well, I can go to the train station as a dog. No one will know. And he's got this sullenness to like kind of not getting his way in a lot of ways. And so I think this kind of Harry has no experience with Sirius really as a person, and so he's kind of like, wow, what a weird thing that he's just like so upset about, like, you know, his freedom or whatever. And I think this vision kind of contextualizes it more as a continuation of how his personality has always been, and that he's easily bored. He doesn't mind hurting others and taking big risks for entertainment or amusement. And he likes getting his own way.
Yep. It's a lot of characterization happening, honestly.
I still think that his death to me is like the most, like, he got the worst deal of any character, I feel. Like, finally gets out, but he still has to be undercover. And then, like, maybe in a few years it'll all be settled and I'll be able to walk free. Bam, my cousin killed me. Fuck. Like, I feel bad for Sirius.
It's that is fucked for sure. For sure. Okay,
yeah,
cool. Well,
good chapter.
y'all ready to do some plugs?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Mike, tell the people where they can find you on the internet.
Oh, you can follow me on Instagram at radio.mike. My website is www.radiomike.com.au. And YouTube Radio Mike, and just pretty much anywhere Radio Mike, you'll find me. TikTok as well. And you can listen to my podcast, 20th Century Boy, which is a weekly conversation, and the slug is the conversations you wish you were having about the stuff no one else cares about. Lots of pop culture chat. And then Harry Potter and the Boys is out every Tuesday. I'm about to record one straight after this with Sam for next week's ep.
Exciting. Tell him I say hi.
I will.
Tell him I say hi too, even though he doesn't know me.
I will tell him that.
He doesn't know me either, but he should come on this podcast too, because y'all are a lot of fun.
Yeah, he said he was keen to, so I will hook you guys up on email.
Amazing. What's something, Mike, that you've been like watching, reading, playing, listening to, whatever, recently that you think that our listeners would enjoy?
Oh, okay. I did do this last time. Okay, I've got two, if that's cool. I listened to the new Gorillaz album, which is called Cracker Island. I haven't listened to them for a while, but I really enjoyed that. So recommend checking that out. It's like 45 minutes. But then I actually read a book recently called Never Let Me Go, which is by Kazuo Ishiguro.
Yeah, I've read that one.
Yeah, and I'm still, I mean, I'd love to talk about it at some point with you, because I'm still kind of assessing how I felt about it.
It's a thinker. Oh, it's a thinker.
Yeah, and I guess, like, it's sort of hard to talk about it. Like, I think I liked it, but it's hard to talk about it much without giving away some of the key kind of plot elements. But it was a good sort of quick read. I want to say it's science fiction, and it is, but it's sort of
like magical
not.
realism almost.
Yeah, and but as much as that, it's still kind of just like slice of life. Like, it feels like everyday the real world, but it's not really. Really interesting concept, and I just have been thinking a lot about it. So I would implore you to go and read that book and let me know what you thought. Send me a DM on Insta.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Those are really good plugs.
Thank you.
Brooke, where can people find you on the internet?
You can find me on Instagram at Passion for Parks. You can find me on Twitter at Grumpy Brooke. And this is gonna sound a little stupid, but the modern reboot of How I Met Your Mother, which is called How I Met Your Father and stars Hilary Duff, is actually delightful and everyone should watch it. Yeah.
Ooh,
I
that's
love
fun.
it. I love How
It's
I
like
Met Your
really
Father.
good.
And I was talking about it on my podcast this week because Hilary Duff is my favorite celebrity of all time.
Mm-mm.
And she is delivering on that show.
That's amazing. Good
It's,
for
like,
her. I want
very
nothing
fun.
but everything for her.
It is a very, very fun show. I feel like everyone is going to not want to give it a chance just because of the premise in general. But like, it's so well done. Like, I really, really
Yeah.
enjoy it.
And if you like
I'm
the
excited.
original, it has like a lot of the spirit of the original, which is good, but it feels pretty unique as well.
Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you so much. I've been your host, Christina. You know where to find me. And this week, I'm going to plug, that's what I'm talking about, our friends Lord of the Ring podcast. Lord of the Rings. There's more than one ring. Last week, I was on talking about reading the 1969 nice Harvard Lampoon book, Lord of the Rings, with Sam and Taylor. It was very, very silly. I recommend you listen to it, even if you have no idea what I'm talking about.
Awesome. That sounds good.
Yeah, so that's that. Mike, thank you so much for joining us. It was an absolute delight, and this was a really fun chapter.
Thank you so much for having me back. Hopefully I can come back on Half-Blood Prince. And then I think once we finish book 2 of my fanfic, I'd love to get you guys on finally.
Yeah. That'd be amazing. I love it. You know, we got to protect the fun, safe spaces in this fucking fandom. You know what I mean? And Brooke, as always, thank you for being my beautiful, dear, dear friend.
Yeah, thanks. I am always delighted to be able to actually do something with people.
Yeah. You're doing great. How is it speaking to adults again?
I'm trying so hard, guys. Trying so hard. My daughter is 5 months old, for context, Mike.
Oh, that's sweet. What's her name?
Freya?
Oh,
The Queen
that's a
in the
lovely
North.
name.
The
Yeah.
Queen in the North.
Yeah. So she's a
Well,
delight,
hello
and
to
I
Freya.
deeply love being her mom, but also trying to like maintain any adult friendships. My adult friends are absolutely so lovely and gracious with me about how hard it is to balance all of that.
I
So
bet.
it is fun getting to do this kind of stuff.
Hell yeah. And actually, Freya is going to be a guest on the podcast in April.
We're just gonna let her
Yes.
babble into the mic for a little while.
That's cute.
Going to be her debut. So I'm pretty excited about that one. Anyway, that's the end of the episode. And that's how I end the episodes.
Makes sense.
That's it, potheads. Thanks for listening to the restricted section. This podcast is produced and hosted by me, Christina Kahn. Our theme music was produced by Ryan Kahn. Our logo was designed by Michael Hardison. Please connect with us on Twitter @RestrictedPod, on Instagram @RestrictedSectionPod, on Facebook @RestrictedSectionPod, or in our Facebook group, The Restricted Section Detention Crew. Join our Patreon to get access to our Discord server, our bonus episodes, and other cool perks. We're also very happy to be a member of Deus Ex Media, where all you fucking nerds can find all kinds of fandom podcasts to suit your fancy.
Have you ever gotten so distracted in Stardew Valley that you forgot to sleep? Have you realised that you have a whole room in your house full of dolls? Or have you even bored your friends to sleep talking about your passion? Well then, Content Capable is the podcast for you. Join me, Sam, as I chat to people passionate about what they do, asking questions about how they fell in love with their passion, what they do, and how it interacts with their day-to-day lives. Catch the podcast every Monday as I find out what makes someone tick, all while gleaning interesting and insightful life lessons along the way. There'll be laughs, a bit of crying, a whole lot of conversations, and we learn just a little bit more about the world around us.
I just walked in on my husband giving my daughter a jazz bath. He's
That sounds fun.
Playing smooth jazz. He's got the bathroom like steamed, like he ran the hot shower so that it's like steamy in there, and he's just scatting along with the jazz music for her.
I'm not surprised. Did you put Maple in the bathroom?
Yes, I did, yeah.
A puggle. Change things up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Dave X Media.